During the Monaco Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton asked a straightforward question. He wanted to know if everything was all right between him and his team. But instead of an answer, there was only silence from his race engineer, Riccardo Adami. No response, no reassurance, just empty air. Hamilton's question was simple. "Are you upset with me or something?" Yet the quiet that followed was more telling than any words could have been. For a driver with 7 world championships, this moment felt chilling. It hinted at something more serious than just a poor strategy or an off day on the track. When someone like Hamilton begins to doubt the connection with his engineer, it shakes the foundation of the entire team. The bigger question now is, has Ferrari already started losing Hamilton's confidence before this partnership could even get going? The silence wasn't an isolated issue. It was part of a larger pattern. Throughout the race, Hamilton didn't raise his voice or express frustration openly, but you could tell something was off. The tension built quietly in the background. Halfway through the Grand Prix, his engineer told him, "This is our race." No further explanation or guidance followed. Hamilton's response was immediate. His tone changed. Instead of pushing harder or defending his position, he asked if he was still a minute behind. The reply didn't address his question at all and shifted focus to something about the tires. No clear answers came back. Later in the race, when Hamilton checked if things were all right between him and Adami, he received nothing but silence again. For someone who's been at the top of Formula One for so long, that quiet wasn't just awkward, it was a message. Moments like these don't happen when trust runs high. They show cracks in the relationship. The troubles Ferrari faced in Monaco didn't come from the car's speed. That's what makes this situation even more frustrating. The SF24 had everything it needed: good balance, solid grip, and the potential to perform well in tight corners. But in the crucial moments, whether it was qualifying, race strategy, pit stops, or communication, the team faltered. Ferrari's side of the garage seemed to collapse, and Hamilton was left dealing with the fallout on the track. After the race, Hamilton kept his words to a minimum, but what he did say spoke volumes. "I don't have much to add. I did what I could with what I had," he said. His tone was calm but distant. There was no anger or excitement, just quiet disappointment. "It's frustrating, but I'm focusing on staying concentrated." This wasn't the reaction of a driver who's simply filling a seat. Hamilton joined Ferrari with the goal of fighting for one last championship. On paper, the car looked capable of achieving that. But what happened in Monaco looked less like a title push and more like a replay of Sebastian Vettel's final days with the team. Vettel's time at Ferrari started with promise, but ended in silence. He went from leading the championship to doubting. Simple radio messages during races. Strategy mistakes and unclear communication led to frustration, and the signs were all too familiar. The only difference now is the name attached to the situation. When a driver starts to withdraw and stop trusting their team, it's no longer about tire choices or wing adjustments. It becomes a question of belief. And in Monaco, belief was clearly lacking. Riccardo Adami has been part of Ferrari through many driver changes. He's known for being calm and professional, but he isn't the familiar voice Hamilton once trusted deeply after years at Mercedes. Now, just a few races into their time together, the connection already seems fragile. Hamilton's questions weren't about tires or race tactics. They were about the relationship itself. Asking if everything was okay between them showed uncertainty about where he stood in the team. When that question went unanswered, it spoke louder than any frustration he could have expressed. Behind the scenes, Ferrari is trying to show a strong, united front. However, inside sources suggest the pressure is building. Reports from Italian media hint that Hamilton's side has requested changes in how live race communication is handled. They want clearer timing updates, gap information, and more precise messages during critical parts of the race. Although nothing has been officially confirmed, It wouldn't be the first time a top driver reshaped their engineering team after early setbacks. Vettel made such changes in 2018, and Fernando Alonso has done the same throughout his career. Hamilton might be heading down a similar path. What makes this situation more concerning is that Monaco wasn't a chaotic weekend. There was no weather drama, no crashes, and no sudden interruptions. Everything was straightforward, yet Ferrari still failed to execute properly. The car had the potential to finish in the top 5, but instead, they trailed behind midfield teams and watched rivals pull away. The issue wasn't raw speed. Ferrari had the pace to compete, but the problem was how the team managed the race. Execution fell short, and Hamilton, more than anyone, knows what a well-run weekend looks like. At Mercedes, he rarely questioned race strategy. Even when things didn't go as planned, the communication gave him confidence. At Ferrari, though, he seemed unsure about the decisions, the voice in his ear, and the whole process. If this lack of trust isn't fixed soon, it could lead to bigger problems. We've seen what happens when Hamilton feels disconnected. His results don't always suffer, but his body language changes. Answers become shorter, and his attitude during interviews becomes more guarded. That's exactly what we saw in Monaco. Hamilton didn't say much about the situation after the race, but the media has already started comparing this to Ferrari's past communication struggles. Italian outlets are already calling it Vettel 2.0. That's the last thing Ferrari needs, especially with Charles Leclerc consistently performing well in qualifying and openly discussing the car's issues. Leclerc might be the home favorite, but Hamilton was brought in for a reason, to lead the team and raise its level. However, in Monaco, Hamilton didn't come across as a leader. Instead, he seemed isolated. The bigger concern isn't just Monaco. The real question is what happens if this situation continues in upcoming races: Canada, Spain, Silverstone. The longer it takes to build a strong, reliable connection between driver and engineer, the tougher it becomes to fix problems mid-season. Drivers don't wait around for things to improve, especially not someone with 103 wins and a ticking career clock like Hamilton. This is a driver who spent over 10 years fine-tuning every detail of communication during a race. When that system breaks down, confidence quickly follows. The Ferrari garage isn't falling apart, at least not yet, but the cracks are becoming visible. The silence over the radio was one of those cracks, not because it cost Hamilton a win, he wasn't fighting for the lead, but because it cost him clarity. When a driver isn't sure what his team wants, when strategy calls become unclear and emotional check-ins are ignored, it creates distance. And in a team sport like Formula One, distance is dangerous. The most successful teams aren't just the fastest, they're the ones working together as a single unit, on the same page, with the same focus, and one shared goal. Right now, Ferrari looks more like a group of talented individuals unsure how to communicate with each other. Hamilton will give the team time to fix things, but not indefinitely. He's seen this kind of story before, and he knows how it usually ends. So, what's really going on at Ferrari? Is this just a case of early-season confusion, or is the team already losing the trust of one of the sport's greatest drivers? Only time will tell. For now, the pressure inside Maranello is mounting, and every race will be watched closely to see if this partnership can find its rhythm. Lewis Hamilton's arrival was meant to bring experience and leadership, but if the communication issues continue, it could lead to more frustration and setbacks. The silence in Monaco wasn't just a moment. It might be a warning sign of deeper challenges ahead. What do you think? Is Ferrari capable of turning things around before it's too late? Or are we witnessing the start of a difficult chapter? For the team in Hamilton? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the next video appearing on your screen for more updates. The story isn't over yet, and neither is the pressure on Ferrari. Stay tuned.